Hey everybody, CJ Thomas. Welcome to another Would You Eat It Wednesday. Today's topic is tofu, and I want to know, would you eat it? I surveyed my people. Once again, they got it right. They knew that you're not supposed to eat tofu, so spoiler alert, you can go ahead. Maybe that's all you need to know about this video, but I'm going to give you some details here that might help you out a little bit if you were a little confused on this topic, okay? So, one of the things I'd like to address is why this is considered a health food in the first place, okay? So, I know when I was starting my little health journey, soy was like a big major step in the road for me, okay? I started thinking that all meat was bad for me, not true, and I started thinking that this was a good alternative for protein. Got to get your protein, right? So this is a big deal. Everybody thinks soy, they think protein. Protein equals good in our society, which of course is not always the case, okay? The source of your protein, very, very important, okay? And the quantity of protein that we think we need is way out of balance as well. Protein's its own topic. I'm not going to go into too much there, but just know that's why most people think it's good, is because it's loaded with protein, okay? So this is a non-meat source of protein, which is where a lot of vegetarians and vegans turn for their protein. This becomes an even bigger problem, okay? So vegetarians and vegans, what they may not be aware of if they're using soy protein is that soy, some of the health side effects that we're going to discuss are actually brought down, neutralized a little bit by eating it in combination with meat. So soy product, tofu product with meat would actually be a little bit better for you than tofu by itself without any meat. That being said, most people who are eating soy are using it as a meat substitute. So very interesting, the way it's being marketed to us as a protein. They also tell us how it's low in cholesterol, low in fat, low in calories. All these things, these are just buzz terms that get us to think that something is healthy when it's actually not, okay? Low calorie doesn't really matter if you're getting crappy calories. Even, aspartame has low calories, it's a no calorie product, but it will kill you guys, okay? This is basically rat poison. So basically, we're talking about a product that has been marketed to us in a way to where we think it is healthy for us. Not the case. A lot of my people knew that already, and I'm proud of them. But let me give you a little more history on this, okay? In 1913, the USDA had soy labeled as an industrial product, meaning that it was not consumable. It wasn't a consumable product. We didn't put this in our diet. But as of the last couple of decades, this now covers 72 million acres of farmland in the United States. 72 million acres, that's a lot of farmland, and soy is now a major, major crop, major product. You find it in all kinds of different things you might not think about even. So we'll talk about some of those as well. But this just goes to show, historically, we really haven't consumed soy at the level that we're now eating today. We aren't consuming even the same soy that previous cultures were eating in the past, and when they were eating it, they were usually going through a fermented process, which is also very important. Tofu not going through the same process, so this can be very problematic. So this tofu stuff, this little gelatinous cube, it's like Play-Doh. It can be made into anything. It's made into milks, it's made into cheeses, it's made into, on one horrifying Thanksgiving in my family, tofurkey. That's right, tofurkey. We had tofurkey at Thanksgiving dinner. We had some alternative as well. I think we had some meat at the table. I was trying to be healthy at the time. I was trying to embrace it, but I'm telling you, it was a total mistake, total bust, guys. This stuff is nasty, and it tastes nasty, and it's nasty for the body too. So let's go into that a little bit. Why is it nasty? Number one, it's a genetically modified product, okay? GMOs, this is something we got to watch out for. Genetically modified means they've altered the genetic structure of that food. Now, without going into detail on GMOs and what might be the dangers of messing with the genes inside of a food, why do they genetically modify a food? Well, the main reason for genetically modifying soy in this instance is so they can put more pesticide on it. If you're a pesticide company like Monsanto is, you genetically modify a product so that it can resist more pesticide. So you own the patent on the GMO, then you can put more of your product, the pesticide, on it, and since it's patented, people have to come back to you for more of the GMO seeds. So it's really a very good little money-making scam for Monsanto. However, not to get off on too much of a tangent, genetic modification means there's a lot of pesticide on it, okay? So bottom line, pesticide, herbicide, fungicide, all this stuff ending in "side" means to kill. So it's killing all these funguses, all these, unwanted pests that are on the crops maybe, but it's also killing stuff that's inside your microbiome. So it might not be at a dose that's enough to kill you immediately, but it's killing all the micro stuff inside your gut, okay? So you kill off the good microbes in your bacteria or in your system, you're going to have some major problems. You're going to have autoimmunity. You're going to have health effects from this, okay? So this is one of the reasons. GMO, not a great thing, okay? Phytic acid, number 2. So it's got phytic acid in it. This will block mineral absorption in your body. So not only are we getting a product that's heavily laden with pesticides, we're also getting a product that is going to block other minerals that you may already be getting in your diet. Things like calcium, magnesium, copper, iron, zinc. These things get blocked by the phytic acid, okay? So this can be an issue. Phytoestrogens, number 3. This is another big issue, okay? Phyto means fake. It's a fake version of an estrogen, but your body doesn't recognize that it's fake, so it's just used in your body as if it were an estrogen. So basically, if you're eating a considerable amount of soy or tofu or whatever in your diet, you're getting a lot of fake estrogen in your diet. So for men, that's going to mean you're going to have some of those female characteristics, some of the man boobs that people are worried about. That's something you might want to watch out for. For females, this becomes even more problematic, okay? Breast cancer, cervical cancer, polycystic ovary system, okay? Hormone imbalances, all these things can be caused by too much soy in your diet, okay? So this is an issue, right? Goitrogens, number 4. So goitrogens are in soy. This is another thing that will block iodine, okay? We talked about thyroid a little bit at the beginning of this video. Blocking iodine is going to be a huge disruptor for your thyroid, okay? The thyroid gland produces hormones, and it's going to mess up that hormone regulation. Thyroid thrives on the right amount of iodine, not too much, not too little, and if we're blocking iodine absorption in the thyroid, we've got a big problem on our hands. So, we talked about some of the major health effects already. Soy has some bad health effects. Hypothyroid is one of them. Alzheimer's and dementia is another, so it's messing with your brain now. We've got mineral deficiencies, which we talked about also. Vitamin D deficiency. This is an interesting one. So this is another one where you're going to become more deficient. Almost everybody in America, by the way. We've got 2 main mineral deficiencies that are rampant and almost everybody has. It's vitamin D deficiency and magnesium. Vitamin D, most people never get outside, never get much sun, and when we do get outside, we slather ourselves in sunscreen and make sure that we don't absorb any of the sun. Newsflash, the sun has been here longer than you and me, and it's going to be around a lot longer than you or I after we're gone. So to be afraid of the sun, you know, obviously we don't want to get burned, but we need to get some good sun exposure to live an optimally healthy diet. Now you can take vitamin D supplementation. That's a whole nother topic, but let's get some sun exposure, people. So the interesting thing when we get back to soy here is that it increases your body's vitamin D requirements. So not only is most of America vitamin D deficient, but now by eating soy, you're increasing your need for vitamin D, okay? So not a good thing. Again, we've got digestive difficulty, and it also creates heart issues as well. So there's pretty much no part of the body, whether it's your gut, your heart, your brain, your thyroid, pretty much everything is being affected detrimentally by soy, okay? So this is a ton of problems, and I want to go into, before we wrap up here, a couple of the places that soy hides, because you're thinking, I don't eat that stuff, I don't eat tofu, I don't eat blocks of soy in place of meat, you know, this isn't a problem for me, this doesn't affect me. Well, maybe it does, and maybe you don't know it, okay? One place that it hides. We talked about soy milk a little bit, which is not something you want to be drinking, but soy baby formula, okay? This is something you definitely don't want to be feeding your kid, okay? Soy baby formula, this is the last thing you want to be raising your kid as they're growing up, as they're getting the nutrients, as they're feeding their new and forming microbiome in their system. Bad news. So soy baby formula, get your kid off of that immediately, okay? Tofu, we talked about. Now note, we noted how with meat, actually tofu is a little better, so if you're still hooked on tofu, don't be hooked on tofu. Just get rid of the tofu, okay? And also, protein powder. You will find soy protein powders out there, and a lot of them don't even say that they're a soy protein powder, but if you look at the label and the ingredients, they will have some kind of soy in there. That's how they boost the grams of protein in that product. You know, they put that in bold print on the front, but then in the fine print on the ingredients, they will tell you, hey, this has X amount of soy in it, okay? So it'll show up somewhere, usually 2 or 3 places in the ingredient list, okay? So protein powders you gotta watch out on. Meat itself, okay? When you're eating your chicken, when you're eating your beef, when you're eating your turkey, when you're eating salmon, a lot of those animals are being fed soy. You are what you eat, and you are what you ate. If you can follow that, okay? So if you eat an animal that was eating soy, you're getting that soy too. So this is another hiding place for soy that people don't think about, okay? And this is another thing you really have to be careful with. It's not that meat is the issue necessarily, it's the way we raise our animals, how they're harvested, how they live. We've talked about that a little bit before, but you always, with meat, have to be super, super careful about how that animal was raised. We've also got margarine, Never have the margarine, you don't want that. Shortenings and salad dressings are another couple places that soy will hide, so salad dressing is a big one. Processed foods, pretty much anything you find in a box or in a bag, check the ingredients. I bet there's some kind of soy in there. They put it in everything anymore. It's all over the place. You heard 72 million acres of our land is covered in soy, okay? So it's all over the place, and it's being grown for a reason, because they're using it, because it's a cheap way to put protein into your products, okay? So you've got processed foods. Edamame, so this is a little bit different, okay? So edamame is kind of like a younger version of the mature soy plant. So edamame actually can be a little bit better for you. I say that with a caveat. That doesn't mean go out and start hoarding edamame, eating that. It's got a little less phytoestrogen in it, a little bit less of that fake estrogen. Still not something that you want to have a bunch of, but I have to acknowledge that it's not quite as bad as tofu, okay? And finally, we've got products like miso, natto, and tempeh. Now, these are fermented versions of soy, and this is more towards what ancient cultures used soy for, okay? So when it was in ancient cultures, when it was in an organic form, they would ferment this product, which neutralized a lot of these phytoestrogens and phytic acids and that kind of stuff, okay? So it brought all this down. It didn't have GMOs in the product. It didn't have any of this stuff to worry about, okay? And by fermenting the product, which is what miso, which is what natto, and what tempeh is. Maybe you haven't heard of that stuff. If you haven't, it's not that big a deal, but these are fermented versions of soy that can be okay for your health. The fermented version of soy, not so bad, okay? So, a lot of places that it hides, a couple versions where it's not as bad, but basically, soy is something you probably want to keep out of the diet and just steer clear of altogether. You don't need tofurkey at your Thanksgiving dinner. Stick with some real, organically sourced meat from a proper place, or, you know, if you're vegan, you know, find some other sources of protein as well, okay? This is not the way. Soy is not going to be your way. Almost all of it is just really, really bad for you. 99% of what's on the market is really going to be harmful to your system. So that is it for the soy discussion, for the tofu discussion. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully if you got any questions, you'll let me know about it, and I'll keep bringing you some more videos like this in case you're interested in whether or not should you eat it. Tofu, soy, no, you should not. See you later, guys.